What was the first thought you had when you woke up this morning? Do you even remember what it was? Or did you reach for your phone, scroll on TikTok, checking notifications, open up Facebook and start reacting to a world that doesn't even know what you want from life? And most of them don't really give a shit either. Right? That's how most men start their day. They don't start it from a vision that they have from their life. They don't start it from power. They start it from distraction and noise. Right? And then by doing that, they don't even realize they start by fucking losing. Right? Before your feet have even hit the floor, you're already distracted. You're already feeling anxious, already doubting yourself, caught in a dopamine fucking hit after hit. That's not random. That's programming. Right? What you're battling every single day isn't just stress or circumstance. Right? It's something way older than that, right? Something wired into your nervous system that is designed to keep you stuck, right? And the Buddhists, they called it the Five Hindrances, right? And they show up like this, right? You crave what feels good. You avoid what feels hard. You lose momentum for no reason, right? You can't sit still. And worst of all, you doubt yourself constantly, every fucking day. And the more you feed these patterns, the more you train your brain to stay weak. Right? You can't lead life from that place. You can't create a life that you truly desire from that place. You will always be in reaction mode, right? Chasing, distracted, and fucking confused. So today we're going to go to war on those hindrances, not with force, but with awareness. Because once you can see the games your mind is playing, you can stop playing along. Let's break that fucking cycle today, right? Let's build a new way of being today, right? And don't get me wrong, when I come on here talking about this, I'm no fucking different to you. I still battle with my mind every single fucking day, right? The same thoughts that haunted me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they show up daily. Even this morning, right? That familiar feeling crept in, that fear, self doubt, right? That voice that fucking comes in, you're not good enough. You are going to mess up. Why are you even doing this? See, I used to think that alcohol and drugs were the reason I kept fucking my life up, right? And don't get me wrong, they played a massive role in it, right? But I thought once I got sober, everything would change, that my life would just become plain sailing and easy, right? Clearer, right? But that never happened. It got better, right? But the voice didn't vanish, right? It didn't vanish when I stopped drinking. It didn't vanish when I started, coaching people. And it did not shut up when I finally committed to my YouTube journey and uploaded 75 videos every single day. Not 75 a day, but one video every single day for 75 days straight, right? The voice is still there. Every morning, even this morning, it's screaming at me, telling me that my videos are shit, that nobody's watching them, that I sound repetitive, that my voice is terrible, my delivery is weak, and the list could go on and on and on. But there's a big difference now. I don't believe it, right? I don't become it. I don't let it decide who I am. See, back then, those thoughts would hijack my entire day. I would spiral, right? I would distract myself, I would procrastinate, sabotage. I would chase anything to numb that noise, right? I would run from it. But now I just see it for what it is. It's old code, old programming, outdated wiring, loops that belong to the man that I used to be, not the man that I'm becoming. And when I catch them, and trust me, I do catch them, I don't resist, I just redirect. Right? I choose a new thought, a higher frequency, a version of me that leads from alignment, not from fear, not from anxiety. And look, I know that I am not the best on YouTube, right? I know that I'm still early on my YouTube journey. I know I've got a lot to learn, right? I know that I can't compete with these big people out there with teams and different tech and all that. I'm just a one man band trying to figure this shit out on my own, learning as I go. Right? But the only way I will learn is by doing. So I will keep showing up, keep improving, keep trying to impact lives one video at a time. And every time I choose that truth over the bullshit noise, even in the smallest way, I feel grounded, I feel more empowered, I feel actually powerful, I feel free. Because this journey, it's not about eliminating the darkness, it's about alchemizing it, transmuting it. It's about facing it with awareness and then using that as fuel, right? Every fear I face, I build trust in myself. Every doubt I overcome, it deepens my clarity. Every moment I don't react, I take my power back, right? This isn't a one-time breakthrough. It's a daily discipline. It's a daily discipline not to be ruled by the bullshit noise outside of me. Not to outsource my power to the old stories, right? Not to let the past drag me out of alignment with who I am right now. That's the work, and I have to do that daily, right? I'm doing it today, okay, right this second. And see if you're on the same path. I see you. This is why I'm making this channel. You're not alone because I don't have the answers and I want to normalize not having the answers is okay. I know what I know through lived experience. Right? And let's break it down a little bit deeper so we can understand why our minds are so fucked up at times, right? Because most men think the problem is external, okay? It's not, right? You're not stuck because of your job, your relationships, your schedule, or even your past, right? You're stuck because of 5 internal forces, the 5 hindrances, right? And they block your clarity, your focus, and your power. Now, these hindrances, I didn't come up with them, right? They come straight from Buddhist psychology, right? Not religious, but it's real spiritual truth. Okay, they're not sins, they're not flaws, they're just obstacles of the mind that cloud your vision and they derail your energy. Every man on the path to mastery has to face these. And if you don't recognize them, they will run your life and ruin your life without even knowing it. So, number one, sensory desire, right? This is the craving, right? The constant urge to reach for pleasure, food, alcohol, porn, validation, dopamine. This is what keeps you distracted and numb, right? Spiritually, this one is insidious because it feels harmless. But see, the man who constantly feeds himself never learns to hold space for himself. Desire isn't evil, but see, unconscious cravings, they hijack your attention and destroy your presence. And presence is one of the most important things that we can embody. This is why stillness feels unbearable at first, because your nervous system is addicted to stimulation. Right, and the science will back this up. The dopamine studies show that dopamine spikes happen before the reward, right? Meaning your brain gets more addicted to the chase than the thing itself. And this is why if you speak to gambling addicts or, even myself, the gambling addicts is the chase. It's not the win. It's the chase. And also for me being a cocaine addict, it was that, waiting to get the package, waiting and the smell and the taste. It was the anticipation that I really craved as well. And it wasn't just so much the drug. So it's the chase itself. So if you wonder why you feel empty after the scroll, the snack, or that short hit of pleasure, that's why. Okay, and then we look at number 2, right? Aversion, which means negative emotions. This is your resistance to discomfort, to failure, to emotional pain. Right? Aversion shows up as anger, judgment, irritation, control. Right? And stoically, this is where most men crumble because they're not trained to feel. They're trained to suppress. Right? And I've told you this before. I suppressed for years. So when you don't feel these emotions and you suppress them, they just go down, go down. They're going to have to come up one day. And when they come up, they're going to fucking explode. Right? And Marcus Aurelius, what he said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Right? Negative emotion is not the enemy. It's how we react to it. And when you can observe anger without becoming it, right? When you can sit with the pain without needing to numb it, that is true power because you're in control. Right? And biologically, aversion is tied to the amygdala, the brain's threat center. Right? But see the prefrontal cortex? That's the seat of awareness, and that can override that. So what does that mean? It means that you're not wired to react, you're trained to react. And because you're trained to react, you can retrain yourself. But it starts with awareness. Okay? Number 3, sloth and torpor. Right? This is the fog, the heavy, numb. Right? I just cannot be fucked energy. Can't be bothered doing this today. Right? And it's not just physical, it's mental. It's a deep resistance to action. And that's rooted in an unconscious belief that effort is pointless. Right? And here's the thing, this isn't laziness, it's learned helplessness. Right? You've been conditioned to believe that your actions don't matter. Right? And because that's what you believe, that becomes your reality. Right? But spiritually, sloth is just blocked life force, blocked chi. The fire is still there. You've just buried it underneath the noise, the shame, the guilt. Right? And in neuroscience, they call this the default mode network. When that's overstimulated, it actually suppresses motivation and reduces clarity. But see, when you can return to your vision, your true North Star, when you remember who you are and why you're here, that network quietens, the fog lifts, and the fire, the spark, comes back. Okay, and then we look at number 4, right? Restlessness and anxiety. Okay, the endless thinking. What if? What if I fail? What if I can't do this? What if this? What if that happens? What if this? Right? The bouncing from task to task, but never actually getting anywhere. Right? Modern men are fucking cooked in this one. Right? You can't sit still. You can't be here right now. You're always scanning, comparing, predicting, worrying. Right? Spiritually, this is the ego trying to outrun the present moment. Because the present moment, that's where the truth lives. Right? The anxious mind is the loud mind. And the loud mind will drown out your intuition. Right? And the intuition is the key to creation. Right? And this is why breath work, cold exposure, walking in nature, they work because they bring your nervous system back into rhythm. Right? And there were studies that show breath-centered practice, it will directly reduce cortisol and then activate the parasympathetic system. So, in simple terms, your body calms your mind when your mind refuses to calm itself. Okay, and then we've got the last one, and the fucking worst, doubt. Right? This cuts the deepest. Not the surface level, should I do this? But that soul level doubt. Am I capable? Am I good enough? Am I worthy? Do I deserve this life I say that I want? This was what I struggled with, and do you know what? I still struggle with it. And if you don't meet this head on, it will quietly destroy and kill every dream you have. Right? And in a spiritual sense, doubt is the ego protecting itself from expansion. Because see, when you start stepping into your true self, the ego, the identity, it thinks, I'm going to die. So it threatens the entire identity you have built to survive. And that doesn't want to die, so it'll do everything in its power to pull you back. Okay, but let me tell you this. Doubt doesn't mean that you're off track. Doubt means that you're actually on the right track, you're growing. Right? And psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. Your old identity and your new identity are button heads, they're fighting to see who can win this war. And that inner conflict, that causes discomfort. But the discomfort isn't danger, it's a signal that you're moving in the right direction. And the more that you choose faith over fear, even in the smallest of ways, the more your brain will adapt. And the more your nervous system normalizes uncertainty, and the more your actions match your potential and not your programming. Okay? Now, as I said, these 5 hindrances are not flaws. They're the threshold, right? They show up right at the moment your evolution begins. And when you learn to meet them without flinching, right? To feel the craving, to feel the doubt, to feel the irritation, to feel the heaviness, to feel the restlessness, and then still choose to move from presence, brother, that's when you become fucking unstoppable. Okay? It truly does. And these 5 hindrances, they don't go away just because you've watched this video and you're aware of them. No, they're part of being a human being, right? You don't fix them. You face them again and again until they no longer run the show. This is the identity shift that most men never ever make. They think becoming disciplined means becoming perfect. Nah, man. Mastery has nothing to do with perfection. It's about pattern recognition. It's knowing I feel the urge to scroll, that sensory desire. I want to lash out and punch his fucking head off. That's aversion, right? I can't be bothered. That's sloth. My mind is racing. That's restlessness. I don't think I can do this today or ever. That's doubt. And see, instead of reacting from that state, you pause, you breathe, and you choose, who do you want to be? That's what self-mastery looks like in the real world. Right? You don't overcome the mind by force. You overcome it by separation. You stop being the thought and start observing the thought. The old you, he believed everything he thought. He got hijacked by every emotional spike. He let distraction, anger, laziness, anxiety, and doubt make all his decisions. But see, the man that you are stepping into, your highest self, he knows the voice in his head isn't always the truth. He knows fear is just part of the process, it's not a stop sign. He knows restlessness is just a test of presence. He knows doubt is just the echo of an old self that's being left behind. This is the power of an identity shift. You stop living at the mercy of your mental state and you start creating from awareness, from choice, from direction. Right? You shift from why am I like this to now that I see it, who do I want to be in this moment? Because when your identity shifts from the reactor to the creator, from the addicted to thought to the grounded, anchored in awareness, you stop chasing control. You just start embodying power. Okay? And see, to win this war, right? You don't overcome the mind through motivation. You don't conquer self-doubt by just journaling once a week and hoping it will get better. You win this war through structure. Because see, when hindrances show up, and they will show up, right? You only shot at staying on track is having some type of system that holds you when your emotions try to hijack the wheel. Okay, and I've lived this and I've tried and tested so many different things. Right, but I still wake up some days with that same voice in my head like I did 5 years ago. Like I said, you're not good enough. You're behind, no one cares. Just sleep in today, hit the snooze button. Right, but here's the difference. See those thoughts, they don't decide how I live. Because I've built a structure that runs no matter what's going on in my mind. What my thoughts are, what's my head in. I have non-negotiables. Okay? And that's my battle plan. Right? It's not just a quick hack, right? A quick mindset shift. It's a daily structure that builds a future that I want. Right? And before we go into that, I'm just going to give you a couple of things that when to deal with these hindrances, right? So when you wake up in the morning, because I find that's when I'm at my weakest, right? And before the world gets loud, right? Don't touch your phone, don't touch fucking anything, right? Just get up and ask yourself what is trying to hijack my attention right now, right? Which hindrance is already whispering to me? Is it the sensory craving, negativity, lethargy, restlessness, doubt, right? Just label it, own it, okay? And that's how you start to take your power back. And see, once you've done that, right? One powerful decision. Right after that awareness check-in, act. One small decisive action in defiance of that hindrance. Right? So you feel lazy, fucking move your body, go for a run, go to the gym, do 25 burpees, whatever. Feeling anxious, go and meditate, go for a walk, breathe. Right? Feeling doubtful, post one thing, right? Send one message, take that step. Whatever it is you're feeling doubtful, do something in the opposite. Right? Why? Because the action builds the identity, and your identity is always one choice away from that shift. Okay? So, let's jump into the structure. Okay, number one is very important. I've done a video on this recently, Okay, it's about clarifying your mission, your vision, having a vision in your life. If you don't have a vision, you will be a prey to every distraction. You must know who you're becoming. You know, what does that man value? How does that man move? Right? And I've done a video, I'll put a link in the description, okay? Because you want to be able to understand where you're going in life, right? And you don't have to understand how you're going to get there. Okay, that will be revealed to you as long as you're going for what you truly desire, what your heart wants, and not what you think is possible, but what your heart wants, right? It's harder to be dragged off course. Okay, without having a vision, you it's so easy to drift, right? You'll get taken out by the same emotional patterns over and over and over again. Okay, so having a vision for your life. Okay, step number 2: you have to design a daily operating system. Right, build a structure around the man that you want to become. Now, there's things that I do every single day, right? I run my operating system, right? So every single morning, I wake up and I set an intention. Okay, I'll get out of my bed, look in the mirror, right? I set the intention of who I'm going to be. I'll go downstairs, I'll drink my salt water with lemon and apple cider vinegar. Then I'll go straight into meditation. From meditation, I go straight into journaling intuitive thoughts, guidance, whatever I need that day. Okay, and then I have other things that I need to do, family stuff, get the kids ready for school, stuff like that. Right. Then I go into my first deep focus block. Right. Do that. Then I go from them. I go straight into the gym. Okay. Come back. I go into nature. Spend about an hour in nature. Then I come back, do another block of high focus work, and then I will do some in the afternoon. I'll do some studying, right? Whether that's reading a book, listening to an audio book. You know, right now in between. I'm still doing Creation Is Finished and the Kabbalion. These books I've read a couple of times, but I need to read these books because I want to really absorb the information and understand it. It's not just a one's read. Like I normally read a book about 5 or 6 times before I say I'm finished it, right? And then it's again I'll have a walk later on with my dog, and then it's family time. Okay, so every day. Sometimes these change in order because of appointments, because my son's autistic, my daughter's got Tourette's, my wife's got a heart condition, so I'm always at the hospital or appointments. So sometimes I have to adjust based on what my other commitments are from my family level, right? So, but it doesn't matter. Every day I wake up with an intention. I meditate, I journal, a physical training, so I'm sweating. I spend time in nature. I do deep work blocks, and I study, some type of information related to my mission, my vision, right? These are my non-negotiable. Right now, yours might be different. It's your life plan's different. Your goals are different. Your vision's different. So it's about figuring out what works for you. Now, I've tried so many different things in the past 6-7 years. Okay, I used to wake up at 2:45. I used to wake up at 3:30. And now I wake up at 4:45. By the way, so I've tried various different things, and I've tried to understand what works for me. Right, and if you haven't done anything, I would recommend reading the 5 a.m. Club. That's where I started my whole journey, reading the 5 a.m. Club. It's a great way to start some type of routine, okay? But have a non-negotiable system, because see, when things can go to shit, when I feel like shit, right? This keeps me on track, because feelings are temporary, but structure builds reality, right? So, and step number 3, stick to that routine, especially when you don't want to. This is where men break. They think discipline is a mood. Let me tell you something. If you only follow your structure when you feel motivated, you don't have a structure. You have a hobby. Right? Your routine is what you fall back on when the hindrances show up, when the sensory desire whispers, just take the day off, when the aversion shows up and wants you to quit, wants you to rage, when the sloth tries to pull you back to sleep, right? When that restlessness tries to scatter your focus across 20 different tabs, when doubt says, you've just not got it in you, you execute anyway, because you're no longer led by how you feel. You're led by who you've chose to become. Okay, and then every single day, ask yourself, did I stick to my structure today? Did I live in alignment today? Where did I get pulled off? Right? Where did I hold the line? And this is not about guilt. This is about refining your system. No more hiding, no more unconscious autopilot. Self-mastery isn't built by accident or in one day. It's built by tracking your alignment and closing the gap every single day. Okay, and last one, number 5, refuse to negotiate with hindrances. You want power? Make a decision right now. I do not negotiate with my mind. You don't argue with laziness. You don't debate anxiety. You don't try to feel confident before you act. You have chosen your path. Your job now is to move. Build your day like a warrior who's sharpening his blade, right? Same rituals, same execution, and if possible, the same time. That's how you rewire a mind that has spent decades running on the wrong codes. Okay, because see the man who builds structure around his values, he wins. Not overnight, not by accident, but inevitably he wins. Because see when the world gets loud, when emotions rise, when fear kicks in, you won't be scrambling for motivation because you're already in motion. That's how you win the invisible war. Not with hype, with habitual alignment. And this is the thing. How many times, with motivation comes after the action. There's so many times I don't want to go to the gym or I don't want to do something. But see, when I take the action anyway and I start it, I feel amazing for doing it. So motivation comes after action and not before. Right? You don't master the mind in one day. Okay? You don't outthink it. You don't outdiscipline it. Every thought that tries to pull you off track, every distraction, every old fear and emotional loop, it's not here to stop you. It's here to show you where the work has to be done. As I said, I still wake up with same thoughts, same feelings I had 6, 7, 8 years ago. Self-doubt, fear, old stories. But I don't believe them anymore. Because I've built a structure stronger than the noise. I follow it. I lead myself. And see, on the days where those old patterns get loud, I don't run. I go still, in fact. I go meditate. I get sharp. I return to what I've chosen because I'm in control. And that's what I want for you. Not perfection, but presence. Not hustling and grinding, but true power. Not control over the mind, but awareness of it so it no longer runs your life. And if this message hits home, it's because you're ready. You're ready to stop being ruled by the unconscious. Ready to become the kind of man who chooses even when shit gets hard. In fact, especially when it gets hard. So today, start today. Pick a hindrance. The one that's costing you the most. Call it out. Build your structure and start running it. No negotiations. No excuses. Just action. Okay, drop a comment below. I refuse to negotiate with my mind. That's your declaration, right? And if you want to join me on this journey, subscribe, hit the notification bells. This channel is built for you. It's built for men who are done fucking letting their mind destroy their life. And they want to create from truth, from structure, from self-mastery. And if you know another man out there who's stuck in his head, ping this over to him. You might just save his life or stop him from wasting another day. The path isn't always easy, but I promise you this is always worth it. Okay, if you walk it with awareness, discipline, courage, you'll become the kind of man that nobody can knock off his path. You will lead, you will create, you will win. One rep at a time, one day at a time. As always, thank you for sticking with me to this point. I truly appreciate you. I truly love you from the bottom of my heart. Go and win. Please, brother, win. I'll have another video for you here, and you can subscribe here. Catch you on the next one.